and the nun corrected the student and said, "Don't say it like that because you'll sound like a dumb Mexican." And I was like, I don't think that's how you're supposed to say that. So I went home and again.
I have a question. Are immigrants included in AAPI?
I think they're all just like kind of like, because racism doesn't discriminate, we're including every Asian person in America.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Max, bring your mic closer, please.
Oh yeah. We're kind of just like bringing in every Asian person in America right now, because racists don't fucking care if you're here as an immigrant or a tourist or if you were born here.
Yeah. I'm an immigrant.
You Asian.
I'm an immigrant. I consider myself Asian American because I'm Asian and I'm in America. So
you're an immigrant?
Yeah.
Kind of.
What do you mean?
Kind of. You
were born here?
I wasn't born here.
Where were you born?
Or where I was born.
He was born in the Philippines.
I was born.
Oh my God. They moved here when he was one.
Yeah,
barely one.
I was born in the Philippines. Exactly what Max just said.
They couldn't wait until a month.
No, because my dad has been trying to get us over here for like years, and then finally happened.
That's why I was here when I was 15.
Yeah,
Emeroy, stay in till we get over there.
And yeah, and my guess immigrant story is different because I came here as a kid, and was essentially grew up as in my eyes an American because I grew up here in the school system, high school, college, everything. Max has a very different point of view where she grew up there in the Philippines, but came here as a high school student.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you, immigrants.
Hell yeah. What was that in Hamilton? Immigrants, we get the job,
done.
Shit.
You know what's actually crazy about hearing the Emeroy is, like, honestly, I didn't do that. But I'm not really one to kind of ask people where they're from. But whenever
where you from?
Yeah, where you from? Fool?
That's a different story when you say that in Los Angeles.
That's a different thing in LA.
Real quick story. I had somebody ask me that. Like, hey, where you from? I'm like, I'm from here. And I was like, no, what street you live? I live down there. Because I wasn't a gangster, so I answered in the most oblivious fucking answer. But either way, back to it. That blue that house right there? That's
wrong colors, fool.
Oh shit! Don't say blue though.
I never realized like how many people I knew who were of like Asian American descent that were not actually born here, you know. But once again, that's because I never really asked. But it usually comes up in conversation, like right now, where it came up in conversation, and this, you know, I find out that somebody was actually born like in the Philippines or in Japan or whatever, and then they came here when they were 1, when they were 7, when they were 12, when they were 15, and it actually is a little crazy because I mean I just don't see any difference. Yeah, that's why I mean I don't really ask because I don't really see any difference.
There's a reason for that that's almost specific to Asian immigrants, especially like there's Asian immigrants that, you know, they end up moving to like mostly white, but like quite like, you know, kind of affluent areas in different parts of the United States, and you know their parents, knowing that their kids might, you know, be subject to some sort of bullying just because they look different, because not everybody's white. They are going to, essentially try to raise their kids as white as possible. You know, like they'll buy them all like these nice things. These kids like already have like designer shit, even though their parents are struggling. But hey, you know, freaking, you know, Sam's gonna come to school with fucking a Louis Vuitton bag just because, you know, the white kids can't make fun of them because it's a Louis Vuitton bag. It's like, you know, it's one of those things that we try so hard to assimilate that sometimes we kind of lose that part of us. Like I had to do that like my 1 year in high school, because it was my senior year when I moved here. I had to do that. Like I had to kind of minimize that in a sense, because, you know, I was under the impression that, you know, I just need to blend in kind of and just keep my head down and graduate and that's it. And it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, Brandon.
I can connect on 2 different levels. One, my family. So we're Latin, but I was always told to like not speak Spanish like in certain times, or like not do too many things, because we don't want them to think that you're like a poor Mexican. Because where I'm from, where my city is, where I grew up, they used to tell me go back to Mexico, and like personally I don't feel like I looked that Mexican, but like in that part of town it was like, you're Mexican, like you're not white.
For the longest time I thought you were Greek.
I'm Greek, Italian, Mexican.
Boom.
Oh, I was right on one.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you were a third right.
Yeah, but most of us is Mexican. So, but yeah, so from that part of town, it was like, go back to Mexico, you know, this and that, or even vice versa. When I would have like Latino clients or anything like that, it was like, how come you don't speak Spanish? Like, see, you're not so Mexican because you don't even speak the language, you know? So it's like, it's a back and forth thing, but definitely growing up, it was always taught to us, like, never be seen as the poor Mexican in the class. So my mom was the same way. She would be like, you're going to wear Quicksilver when Quicksilver was cool. She was like, you're going to wear Quicksilver. You're going to go shopping at this place and that place. And we're going to make you look like, you know, we weren't super affluent in the beginning, but they struggled to make it look like that. So like you said, so we wouldn't have any shit from people. Cause I'll definitely remember this one time I went to a Catholic school, and it was taught by nuns. And my 5th grade class, I'll never forget this. She said something like, somebody said a word and they mispronounced it. And the nun corrected the student and said, don't say it like that because you'll sound like a dumb Mexican. And I was like, I don't think that's how you're supposed to say that. So I went home, and again, we're very like.
Wait, the teacher said that?
Yeah, to the student.
The nun said that.
The nun said that, yeah.
Oh,
so
God.
I was like, Mom, sister so-and-so said that we shouldn't say blank blank because it will sound like a dumb Mexican. And she was like, what? It's like, we're going to the class tomorrow. So long story short, she like stormed to the classroom. On the way there, she stormed to the principal's office, who's also a nun. And she's like, Sister Fidelma, come with me. She's like, we're going to the classroom.
Damn, you in trouble. That's
a Latino parent right there.
That is a scary kind of trouble.
And she was
if
like,
their ears were exposed, she would have pulled them out of their ears.
Exactly. She was like, wait, where are you going? She's like, you're going to follow me to the 5th grade class. Come on, let's go. And she was like, wait, where are you going? And she's like, Sister so-and-so said blah, 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 blah. And she come here. She opened the door to Sister so-and-so, and she's like, come here. And she's like, my son told me that you said don't speak like a dumb Mexican. She's like, so what you're going to do is not only apologize to him, but you're going to apologize to the class for saying ignorant statements like that. And she goes, and she also said, mind you, it's a Catholic school. She said, and if you don't do it, both of you are going to meet your maker sooner than you want to.
Let's go.
Like, Mom, stop, Mom.
At this point, you're like, Mom, it's not that deep.
It was not a question, Mom.
And so I agree with that in that situation.
Quick, Brett, how old were you when your parents told you that? Like when you had that shit with your parents? Yeah.
Since I can remember, like years and years and years.
No, because here's the thing though. When I was young, like barely like in pre-K kinder, my mother would, I didn't notice this until now, maybe this is why she told me, but she told me like, never speak in Spanish, always speak in English. And she asked her why, it's like she didn't want me to develop an accent.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, that's why like when when we moved here, this is how I've been speaking since before we moved to the United States. So when I moved here and I had to take the English proficiency test because I wasn't born here and I had to go into an American school, the proctor was like, are you sure you've never lived in the United States? Where I was like, no. Well, this is what you forced me to do because I had to assimilate to this fucking country. I've been preparing myself for 15 years, apparently.
I've been preparing for this.
I'm trying to answer your questions, dog. I'm trying to answer your questions.
Yeah, because it was the same thing.
Quick question though, kind of off topic, but also on topic, like with and like bringing up like not looking poor. Is this why our parents don't want us wearing ripped jeans?
Yeah.
Oh,
probably.
shit.
That's not part of it.
Oh, wow.
Makes sense now.
Because my when we moved to we had a pretty pretty good life back in the Philippines, and then we had to sell everything and then kind of start over ish when we moved to the United States. And obviously like most of the time we were shopping at like Marshalls, Ross and all that. And my mom was like, make sure the brand you're getting is a nice one. Don't just get a random ratty one. I'm just like, but I like this shirt. Like there's no brand on it. Okay.
Yeah, no, my mom was the same way when I was back in my rocker stage. I was very like emo rocker.
We're the rockers.
Seriously.
It's not a stage, it's a way
It's
of
not a
life.
phase,
It's a way
Mom.
of life. Yeah, I was a rocker. I went through my. I'm a rocker.
I think we all went through it.
It was definitely like one of those, like what's a rocker's song from back then?
My Chemical Romance, Linkin Park,
Blink 182,
Maria, count
POD,
me
Or
in.
even the like
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
pop
Black
rock,
March
even the
Parade.
like
Simple Plan.
broken is fragile. Think
Yellow Card.
boy,
I
right there.
can't.
I used to be very
Oh
like
my God,
vintage
I
clothes.
actually like
I
that
loved
song.
Mhm.
vintage clothes before American Eagle was a thing. I was like,
Oh,
I like
yeah. Oh my
vintage
God.
plaid shirts, and I would go thrift store shopping, and my
Yeah.
parents hated it because she used to be like, don't tell people
Or like the shirts with the holes in
That
it from
you
Urban
shop.
Outfitters.
at like thrift stores because they're gonna think that we're poor Mexicans. And I'm like, but this shirt's cool. And she's like, no. And I'm like, but it was like $4. And she's just like, no, that's disgusting. Like, I can't believe that you're telling people that. They're gonna think that you're some poor Mexican, that this is that. So it's funny because they say that, and you guys, I'm sure you guys can all agree, like, you defend your people, like you're telling your kids, don't be too blank, don't be too Filipino, don't be too Mexican, don't be too whatever. Yet when somebody attacks your culture, they're the first person to be like,
You're the first one to get all
"That's my
butthurt about
people."
it.
And you're like, but you said don't do this, but you're defending, like, because like, I know, like I said, anytime anybody said anything against Mexicans, like our family would get upset, but it's like, but we can't, you told me to not be too Mexican. So
They're trying to like fit you into like this box of what's acceptable.
And then when you go to a family gathering and then, like you're speaking like in English to them and they're just like, well, Brandon's not Mexican enough. It's like, what?
totally.
It's like, well, Mexi's American now. I'm like, well,
That kind of leads me to this. I just did a lecture for a university, and part of my lecture
Okay,
talking about
Professor.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Professor Brandon.
I
What?
tell you guys that. You guys know that, right?
You lectured
I
at a
didn't.
university? What is this, at MIT?
No, at West Coast. So I talked to like med students that are going to go and deal with public health with LGBT specified patients.
Oh, shit.
So
I didn't.
part of my lectures is talking about, I lost my train of thought because you guys threw me off, damn it. Talks about conditional, like the word is conditional. So America is conditional. And that's how we are. That's why we are the way we are, right? So it's like, you can be gay, but don't be too gay. And if you're gay, be like a funny gay. You can be trans, like a trans woman,
But pass.
but you have to be a passing,
You have
like
to
you have to
pass.
look like a woman for me to accept you. You could be Mexican, but don't really speak too much Spanish. You can
Don't
be
listen to
Asian.
cumbia around us.
Exactly. You could be Asian, but don't bring your traditions to the country because we're in America now. Like,
Except
so
for
it's
sushi,
always,
we love sushi.
Yeah,
And they give you a
exactly.
California roll.
or, you can be other, nations, whatever you come here.
Just don't bring that here.
But don't bring your religion, because that religion, so there's always a conditional, like that's just how it is, and then as we grow older, you have to think about what is truly us and what we formed ourselves to be, right? So, and that's a real conversation that, goes a lot deeper into things, but you really have to just think about, like, do you do things or say things or wear things or don't do things because of these things, right? Because of the world, or because of your parents saying, don't be too Mexican, don't be too Asian, don't speak that language, or is it something that you truly wanted to do yourself? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm going to say it because it's true. They name it California roll because about playing unoriginal it is.
True.
Hey, so yo,